And from an implementation point of view, in terms of the people and the participants and all that, the facilitators, the mentoring, everything is still on the table, right? So I don't want us to think, oh, because we're having the session virtually, it's not going to be done properly. It's going to be done properly. And that's why I am begging everyone to at least contribute and all that, because as much as we're doing this online, we are still going to be monitoring your progress. We're still going to be ensuring that you get things done as you should, right? Assignments and all that should be done properly. If you're supposed to do like a customer analysis and you're supposed to go to the market to do your segmentation, to reach out, to actually do questionnaires and all that, we would ensure that you do those things. I would ask for proof, right? So let's say, okay, Dr. Mohammed is available now. Let's say you're supposed to do your customer analysis and development session. And so you have to go to, we'll say, market to reach out to your potential customers or clients and ask, oh, so would you be interested? Would you be interested in this product and all that? We would ensure that those things are done properly. We would ensure that we reach out and ask you, have you done these things? And we'll get to review what you have done. We'll still have the assessment. So before it was supposed to be monthly, but now we'll be doing it bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks, that would still happen, right? That will still happen. We'll ask questions and all that. So I really want everyone to actually be focused on this program. Yes, it's not physical, so Messi cannot see you and just with you physically and all that. However, we are all open, and all the mentors and all the facilitators are open to what they call it. They are open to actually reaching out to you and supporting you. So even our legal partners, our customer development, every facilitator that comes on this program, you would have access to. So you have access to them. You could reach out to them. I have this problem. I have this concern. How exactly do I solve this problem? What exactly do I need to do? Things like that. It's really important for us because we want you guys to actually learn from people that have either done this before or they failed before and they are doing successfully well now. They're running successful businesses and they are making impact. So do we have any questions before Dr. Mohammed begins?
So Nancy, can you see my screen or?
So I can see you. Welcome.
See my slide?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, sir.
So that's fine.
You're allowed to share your slides.
That's what I thought.
Okay, sir.
How many people do we have in the class today?
Oh, so we have 8. We have 8
benches, right?
We have 8 right now. Yeah.
I can only see 5 people.
Oh, no. We have 8 actually.
JP, Zukaman, Serki.
Yeah. So
Simon, Latif. That's it. Can you see all the others?
Yeah. So Abdul Latif, GP Pay, and all that. Okay. That's about 5 because Michael Child, yeah, that's about 5 because Jiffy Pay and Michael Child's at the same company. But we have new people joining in and they've been sent reminders regardless.
The audio is a little choppy. Is it me? The audience, can you hear her clearly or is choppy? Because what I can hear is a little choppy voice from my mess.
From my end, I can hear clearly.
Okay, great.
Where are the ladies?
Yeah, I can also hear clearly from this side.
Okay, great.
Where are the ladies? I thought we had like 3 ladies in the class.
Yes, we do, but they're yet to get here. I've sent a reminder, so they should be here.
Okay, we give them 5 minutes. We start 10:15 so that everybody joins.
Okay, sir.
In the meantime, Leslie, can you come to my office?
Okay, no problem.
To actually benefit merchants from the day we actually start going live.
Great. So
we're working with a couple of things like pre-order payments, pickup payments. So we've been mulling over a couple of things, order payments for merchants who would like to just be able to pack goods that have already been pre-ordered from customers. So by the time they come in, they don't really have to go into the store, so to speak. Their orders can already be pre-packed and ready for them. By the time they get to the store, if they order via the mobile phone app. So that's just not for restaurants, it's for merchants as well, small to medium sized businesses. So things like that, this kind of solutions we're trying to see if we can incorporate into our offer to benefit the merchants in this time.
Mm-hmm. So even though you're not physically meeting people, you are able to do something.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking with some merchants around where I stayed during this whole time, trying to see what are the biggest pain points they've had in this process and ways we can mitigate it. So yeah, we've been trying to work on that over the period.
Okay, great. Anybody else want to kind of share some of their activities over the last 2 months, given that not much was going on? Michael.
Charles.
Or Charles. Everybody is available. Those who are not talking can mute the mic. Agirani, you may want to mute your mic. Sarki, you want to talk? What have you been doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. We got selected for Start-up Cycle AI South Africa for Redefine Your Idea program. And we also got into PrEP COVID-19 education. So we were working on and seeing how we can redefine the ideas we have in those programs. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Do I come across clearly or do I come across choppy? Because Sergey, half of what you're saying was lost over the network. But do I come across clear? Or
Yeah.
some of my work being fucked up?
Yeah, clear over here.
Okay, perfect. So it's not from my end. Okay. Excellent. Should we start at 10:30 or what do you think, Messi? Sorry.
I think 10:30 is fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What I want is this session is going to be, the slides are going to be quite busy with lots of questions and not questions for you to answer to me now, but rather what you would want to ask yourself and how you want to go through it to recreate or create your own value proposition. So as we go through it, you will see that it's more like what you would have done or you have already done when you're doing your BMC. Because if you remember on the BMC, you have a column that is value proposition and what value are you adding or bringing to the market or to the table. So essentially, the questions that you had asked yourselves, or maybe you may have asked some, but not all the questions. This class is really to take you through how you could look at those questions one more time and try to create a value proposition, which at the end of the day, at the end of this incubation period, when you're doing your final presentation to test it, you will have had your 3-line or 2-line value proposition, which will be like your simple walk down the hallway statement about business. So it's a very simple, straightforward communicating your value proposition to end customer. Okay, so that is really the aim or the topic that we're going to discuss today. So I would like it to be very interactive, and of course, all of you have different businesses. So, but the question is universal, and each one of you, as you look at the question, you obviously customize it to your own business. But all the same, concept is going to cut across whatever you do. So I am actually still wanting to see the other 2 ladies or 3 ladies in the class. Miss, what happened to them? You have your mic mute.
Okay, so Esther is available right now. Toby just joined. Yeah, she just joined the class. So the only person I'm not seeing is Dolapo.
Which one is that?
Dolapo from AfriNovate. But Esther is here. I can see Esther, and I can see Toby.
Lagos?
Yeah.
AfriNovate.
Yes.
That's the lady.
In Lagos.
Right?
Yes, yes.
I hope she's not stuck in Lagos traffic.
Maybe. We spoke over the weekend. She said she's doing well. Not sure there's a problem.
I wouldn't expect any traffic within the house, but you never know.
So I think we can begin. These sessions are recorded, so one can have access.
Right. So let me close my door. Just give me a minute. All right. Guys, nice to see your faces, and I hope this class is going to be as entertaining or as we had when you were here present within the facility. Ideally, we would have loved to have you here, but given the circumstance that we found ourselves in, obviously we have to improvise in a way. It is our hope that perhaps towards the end, maybe the last 2 weeks, if things improve, we might see you here, at least 1 or 2 of the classes, and definitely the pitch. We want you present, and so that we can see there is a lot more that you can achieve in person than online, but we'll do all we could within the framework that we have. So like I said earlier, this class, at least my class, and all our facilitators will encourage them to make the class very interactive so that it is not just one-way traffic, but rather you asking questions and we answering. And by making it engaging, it becomes something that you will have more to get out of the lessons that we're going to go through. So by show of hand, or maybe 1 or 2 people that could tell me what, from their perspective, they think a simple definition of value proposition is. if nobody raises their hands or says something, I'll pick on someone to tell me what do they think a value proposition is. And very simple. How do you communicate value proposition? What is the value proposition? Sarki?
Okay. For me, value proposition is something that has to do with a statement that has to do with telling your clients exactly what your business is all about, the kind of value you want to give to them.
You have an engine in the background that's making noise.
Yeah, I can't control that from outside.
Something that we cannot control, I guess. Close your window, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. I was saying, value proposition is a statement that tells your prospective client what your business is all about, the kind of value it's proposed to them, and what you're trying to do, the problem you're trying to solve, kind of.
Okay, you see, you use so many sentences to describe that. Michael, JPK. Yeah, you kind of got the gist of it, but Michael, JPK. Unmute yourself. Hello. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, Esther.
Sorry. Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
Hello? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
I can hear you.
So, to me, it's just states the problems you're about to solve and the values that your organization is giving to prospective customers who come your way. So, in a nutshell, value proposition just talks about what you're going to do to solve a problem for your prospective customers.
Okay, so
that's what they stand to gain.
Okay.
In doing business with you. Yeah.
So what is value proposition? It is a promise of value that you guys or any venture would want to communicate in a simple and clear manner about what you are offering and what is that offering of benefit to the customer. Simple. So simply you're communicating the value that you're offering the customer so that it will be of benefit to them, whatever that service, product, or idea that you're marketing. That's just simple value proposition. In this context, it could be even your own co-founder, right? You have an idea and you're bouncing the ideas. You want the person to have a buy-in of that idea that you're suggesting. So what is the value in what you're telling the guy or the lady, whoever that person might be, and what is the benefit to them or to the venture that you're proposing this idea to? So in the context of all you guys that you're promoting your ideas and products, it's a simple statement that you will make that is very clear and it states the benefits to the customer. That's it. So if you look at this definition, it says it is a promise of value communicated in a simple and clear manner on a product, service, or idea that is of benefit to the customer. So really, you can define it in different ways, but from my perspective, that is how I kind of define value proposition. And value proposition within that context will have two components. One is what you are offering, and the other component is the customer. And what you're offering could be the product, the service, or the idea. And the other, obviously, is the recipient of that idea or offer. So if you can put those two together, you have your value proposition. So within that context, you start to ask a few questions. So you would say the offering that you're suggesting, of what value or of what benefit is it to the customer? So you can ask the question, what do the offering do? Is this something that is going to be of benefit to them? Take an example of, I remember a couple of the businesses that are represented here, like Michael with his Square Type Nigeria company. What benefit is it? Your business is trying to replace the POS, the cumbersomeness of the process. And if you were to suggest your idea to a business, what is the benefit to them? What are you reducing for them so that it will be of value to them? And then the next question that you will ask is, how does it feel like to use it? Is it easy? Okay, you told me that the solution that you're offering has some benefit to me, but how easy is it for me to use it? And then what are the features? How does it work? So you ask yourself these three questions, and you will come to an understanding, or at least the customer that you're approaching or the person that you're telling this idea will come to realization that perhaps this is something that I may want to listen to, or perhaps this will be of value to me. This has benefits and the experience is great. It's not something that I have to waste a lot of time before I could get that benefit. And then the features are something that addresses the problems that I'm facing. So really, those are the three key questions that you want to address and put yourself in that position. And then from the perspective of the customer, remember I said value proposition has two components, the product or the offering side and then the customer side. We just looked at the questions that are associated with the offering. Now on the customer side, what are the customer's wants? So essentially what you're saying is you now need to start looking at what the customer is looking for. What are the emotional drivers of purchasing or paying for the offer? Why do they want to use your product? You want to ask yourself that question, and you want to really be in their shoes to be able to answer this question. Because oftentimes, because we are the ones who come up with these ideas, we are very biased. We think people need what we are offering them, but we need to also put ourselves in their position to see whether or not it makes sense. And we start to question ourselves when you put yourself in the position of the customer. The second question that you will ask is, what are the customer's needs? So remember, these are two different things. Wants and needs are different. Want is not necessarily important, but need is definitely important. You need to eat, you need to drink. But a want is, I would like to have chicken pepper soup instead of fish pepper soup, you see? These are wants. It's not really important, but if you are hungry and you want to eat, you need something to eat. So those two are subtle questions, but you need to put yourself in those, in the customer's position to understand those two. So what are the hidden needs of the customer? What are the rational needs of purchasing or paying for the offering? These are really psychological questions. You are doing psychology in a way, because these are very intangible things. You cannot put your finger on it, but you need to have a feel for it. And then the other question is, what are the customer's fears? In this context is, let me say, I will again pick Michael. With your offering solution that addresses the question that you want to replace the POS. all businesses or most businesses today are using this POS with its cumbersomeness, with all the delays in the process. When you go to a merchant to buy something, it takes sometimes more than a minute to process this. But at least they are familiar with it and they're used to it. They know it works all the time, even though it may take a long time, but it works. Yes. Now, this position is very clear to them. They are very comfortable with it. Even if it takes 2 minutes with the long line in the store, we are all used to it. We don't have any other option. And the merchant is very happy to just process it as it is, as long as they are not taking cash, right? But now the fee is, you come now with your product and you say, you know what? It takes 2 minutes to process every customer. My product will just take maybe 10 seconds or 20 seconds and it will process very quickly. So much will reduce that to a barest minimum or perhaps not even along this. Now you go back to this question of, is it really something of benefit? And the experience that I was talking about is now the experience that they will have when they use your product. It means it's very fast, it's very quick, but is it really that fast? And is this safe for me so that if I process this customer, my money is going to get through, or there won't be any hiccups? And you know, it's always, people are always comfortable with what they have, and it's very difficult to make a change. So those fields, you have to address it. So that's why the question, what are the customer's fears? The risk of switching or using the product or services that you're offering. Does it make sense to really go and use your product now, given that I may end up with some issues? What guarantees are you offering? You see my point?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
So that is really putting yourself in the customer's shoe. You need to really understand their fears, their needs, and their wants. And finally, you need to also think of the alternative that is out there. What are the customers using? In this case, going back to the same example, that the customers are using POS with all the other associated equipments. So is that very competitive for the customer? So take all those questions from the product side and the customer side, and you will come up to a value proposition canvas. So this is how you will look at it. You have on the left-hand side, the product. On the right-hand side, you have the customer. And you can see on the product side, you have the benefits, the experience, and the features. And all the questions that I asked you are there. And then on the right-hand side, you have the customer's wants, fears, needs, and finally the substitute to your product if they were not to use you, but to go on with whatever is out there in the market. So it's your job to really convince them to not go with the substitute, or rather to come with you and leave the substitute. So this, if you look at it, is really more of a psychology thing. That's why at the center, you have this brain, essentially trying to see how the customer feels and what they need to do. So when you go back to your VMC, when we were here back in March, we spent a lot of time creating the business model canvas. And that column on value proposition, I'm sure a lot of you, some just make one statement, and I think I spent some time with quite a few of you to say, ask yourself more questions, go deeper, think through it. And essentially, this is what I meant. And you can see that we are now going through systematically through each one of these questions. So far, any question?
No.
Any questions?
Pretty straightforward, sir.
No question at the moment.
Okay.
No question from my end either.
Oh, okay.
Same here.
Great. So this is where it starts to get busy. And going forward, the slide will be a lot of reading. And you have to excuse me, it's not going to be graphics as most presentations will be, because I want you to read it and to really understand what we're getting at. So value proposition really boils down all the complexity of your sales pitch into something that your client can easily grasp and remember. So each one of you has different business, right? But when you say your value proposition, it will be a small pitch and it will be very clear to the target audience or audience what you're proposing, and they can remember it and they can grasp. It needs to be very specific, which means you are not going to give them a litany of features and does that. Great, but I don't need those features. Or what value is it? So you need to make sure what you are saying is really straight to the point, very specific. Your value proposition must be focused closely on what your customer really wants and values, right? And your customer wants to solve problems. They are not just taking it for the sake of it, because they have problems and they want to solve it. So whatever you're selling and to whom, the value proposition becomes something that is quite useful. If you can really articulate your value proposition properly, the moment you say it, the customer will jump on it. For example, GP Pay. You told me something about your idea and it resonated with me immediately. I have a problem. I don't have cash in my pocket and I cannot find any ATM to go to and get money. But there are several merchants around and I desperately need cash at that point. The fact that I can walk into any merchant that is enrolled into your program and say, I want X amount of money. And immediately they just pick the money and give it to me and walk out. That is great, you see? So
Yes, sir.
it's a useful solution to me. I don't have to start asking people where is an ATM. Perhaps in our current situation in the country, I become a target. Somebody might even follow me, right? But just seeing a shop, I just walk in and then I get the money I need. That is something that is of value. So the idea is to help your customers see the specific value you're offering or you're bringing to them. So something that will grab their attention. And then they will turn to you and say, yes, this solution is right for me. That is what you want when you discuss your value proposition. And again, when we started, I was saying, or I was asking you, what is your definition of value proposition? It should be very, very simple and short. So how do you now create a value proposition, or how do you come up with a 2-3 sentence of a value proposition specific to your product? So in doing that, you need to know what you're offering, and you need to know it very well. I will kind of ask you to forgive me because it will sound very repetitive. I want to really hammer this thing in. I know some of you will say, oh, we have talked about this in March, why are we going over this? No, it's really important. If you can get this right, when you go in to do your pitch, trust me, the moment you say your first sentence on your value proposition and is really straight to the point and it captures what you're trying to say, immediately you get the attention of the audience and the investors, and they will listen through. Even if you have some flaws in some of the things that you're saying, they may overlook it because they really understand what you're saying. And they may come along with you, and where there are errors or things that they have issues with, they will help you try to fix it when they invest in. So it's really important to get your value proposition correct and let the investor or the customer really know what you're telling them. That is why I'm coming back over and over on this thing. So know your product very well. Know how it compares with those of your competitors. And very importantly, put yourself in your customer's shoes to find the answers. Your product, and I want you guys not to be very product-centric. I know you are developing product, but don't be product-centric. It may surprise you and say, why am I saying this? I want you to be customer-centric, not product-centric. You may have the best car. If nobody pays for it, it doesn't mean anything. You may have your jalopy in a village, a small, really rickety car that is moving bad, but people need to move their goods from the farm to the market. They need that. Even if you are really pushing it on a cart with a donkey or a cow, they will come to you because they see the value that you're offering them. So it is not about you, it's about them. So you need to know your product, but really most importantly, you need to understand what your customer needs, and you need to put yourself in the customer's shoe to solve their problem. If you're customer-centric, half of the problem is done. So your value proposition can be created going through a series of questions in a step-by-step systematic way. So once you answer these questions, you have the ingredients to create the compelling value proposition that you want your customers to kind of take away and say, or rather to answer the question, why do I need to buy from you? Do you see where I'm going with this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the first series of questions, and there are three really simple questions. They're very, very simple, very basic, but because they are simple and basic, we tend to overlook them. We want to go for the complex, and anything that is complex tends not to get the attention, or really you end up grinding and taking long. Whatever you're doing, make it simple, and you will be guaranteed that people will listen to what you're doing. So know your customer, like I said. Start from the perspective of your customer and ask the following questions. What does he really do, or what does he need? Ask that question. What problem does he want to solve? And what improvement is he looking for on his current product? Or what kind of improvement would your product offer him? And what does he really? See, are very simple questions, but they're really profound, and they go to the heart of the problem that you're trying to solve. Ask yourself those questions, but put yourself in customers. So as a tip, if you don't know, ask, okay? Tayo, please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Hello, okay, thank you. So, trying to answer these simple questions, and you think you know, you may not necessarily be answering the questions correctly. Go out, ask the question, don't assume, don't second guess. It's always good to go and identify your customer and ask these questions so that you really know what they want, what they need, what solutions they're looking for, so that you don't go off tangent and go straight to the heart of the problem. So do the market research. This could be a simple matter of asking your customers directly, or organizations, organizing a focus group or a survey, okay? So now we said know your customer. The second question is know your product very well. How does the offering solve or improve the customer's problem? what hard results does it offer in a grab-oriented world? Your value proposition should also speak percentages and numbers. Because if you do that, the person will say, oh yeah. Earlier in the example that I or to process a payment, while you are coming in, Michael, and saying, I can process that in 10 minutes, in 10 seconds. So the customer or the end user sees the value right there. So how much will your customer gain or save with that improvement? Clearly is the time. How much efficient will he become? Clearly you're processing faster than he was doing before. So really those are the kinds of questions that you pose to yourself, putting yourself in the customer's situation and try to use this as guidelines to really come up with a good value proposition. And the third question is to know what your competitors are offering. So really, your value proposition is nothing but customer-centricness. One, know your product, know your customer, and know your competitor. Keep on thinking from the perspective of your customer and ask, how does your offer create more value to them compared to the competition? Are you really offering them something that they don't have? They're using something, and you're saying, look, guys, forget about that, use this. If you want them to do that, you need to make sure that you're making a real difference. And to answer this question, again, it may look very simple, but honestly, it's not. And you probably have come across this when you're doing your VMC. And to answer these questions, perhaps you want to do analysis on these three things: the unique selling proposition, the core competence or your core competence, and your SWOT. SWOT being your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities that are out there that you see, and the threats. What is the threat? The threat is your competition or the competitors out there, or those that may, and you always have to be paranoid. To be successful, believe me, you need to be paranoid. Keep thinking that you may be trying to disrupt somebody's market, but don't think that you are the only one. There are other people who are trying to do the same. So you need to be up on your game. So spend some time and do this. And I would like you to really, if you have not done that, to spend some time, particularly the USP and the SWOT. Your core competence, you already know your core competence, but the unique selling proposition, what you're offering, and your SWOT. And your SWOT, please spend some time. Is a 4-column thing. If you like, you draw a square and you put a plus in it. On each side, you can have your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Fill it in. That will really focus your mind. So once you have done or addressed those 3 questions, you try to distill it towards a customer-oriented proposition. The final step is to pull it all together and answer in 2 or 3 sentences. Remember when we started, I said, you want a value proposition that is going to be maybe no more than 2, 3 sentences, such that when you stand before people and you say it, people really see what you're saying and they come along, or they don't come along if it don't make sense. So why should I buy this specific product? Try writing from the customer's viewpoint by completing the following, okay? I want to buy this product or idea because it will fill in the blank. The things I value most about the offer or the product you're offering are or is, I would prefer the are, so that there are multiple reasons why the customer value what you're offering. Try to answer that. It is better than competing products because So now you're doing all of those three statements are actually knowing your product, knowing your customer, and knowing your competition. Each one of those. I'm buying this product because. So now you know the product, right? The things I value most about the offer, now you know the customer well. It is better than the competing products. You know your competition. So those are the three questions that you need to answer. If you can do this, you really nail your value proposition. Okay? So now turn around your customer's answers from the previous step into a value proposition statement. For example, I kind of gave some numbers here or some propositions. Let's say that, and this example is actually going back to those three iterations that we talked about: the knowing of your product, knowing of your customer, and knowing your competition. This example goes into the heart of that. Let's say that you sell lawnmowers, and I hope you guys know what a lawnmower is, right? Grass cutter, lawns, you have a machine that cuts your grass. So let's say your product is a lawnmower and your customer is someone with a large backyard, okay? So you want to know your customer. Your customer is a businessman with quite a large house who likes the meditation feeling of cutting his own lawn, but gets bored by the job when it gets too large or too long. Essentially what this statement is saying is that you have a customer who lives in a big house and he doesn't hire somebody to come and cut the grass, but he wants to cut it himself. And not because he is being mean, he doesn't want to hire anybody, no, because he's just too busy. Cutting the lawn is the time that he has to really relax, and so he wants to do it. But in the process, he doesn't want to spend 2-3 hours cutting a 2-acre land, because there are people who live in such a big space. So he wants it fast. So he's looking for a good quality cut while the job is done quickly and enjoyable, right? So that is his wants. So you need to know the customer, what he wants, and what his needs are. Step 2, you need to know your product. Your product is a ride-on mower, so which means it's motorized, right? You know those that you can sit on and then you just drive around and in the process cutting the grass. And it has a 25 horsepower engine, which is very, very powerful. And the blades are actually quite wide, 45-inch cutting blades. So which means he can go through his 2 acreage very quickly. So you know your customer's need. Now you know your own product because your product has these features. Now you need to know what the competition is offering. The mower goes faster and cuts wider than the competition. Simple, those 3 steps. Now you distill your value proposition. And this is the statement. Look at that statement. Our mower cuts your grass in 50% of the time of big brand mowers in its class. So you clearly right there give the numbers and you distinguish yourself from the competition. And it leaves the lawn looking beautiful too. Now this is the customer's needs. He wants his lawn cut really nicely. So you understand your value, your offering, your product, you know the customer's needs, and you know the competition, and you just make that statement. So if you have not, like I said earlier, you have not done your unique selling proposition analysis, please do that. Because once you do that, it will show you how you can identify your product's uniqueness. You need to do that. That is what will differentiate you from the competition. It, again, looks very simple, but really that goes to the heart of what you're offering. And it's also worth understanding the various strategic positioning options that will underpin your value statement. There is something that I put in here. I initially wanted to put the link, but I will just leave it to you to do your own research. It's called Porter's Generic Strategies. Do a search online and get this document and read it. This will help you a great deal. It will help you with your strategic positioning. Because value proposition, while on one hand is about selling, but it's also about leadership and about strategy. You need to be very strategic, and you need to think the way you position yourself against the competition, against anybody out there that wants to take your lunch. So there is a little twist that I'm putting in here. Value proposition, or rather moving from value proposition to winning proposition. And I talked about earlier, or in the previous slide, the strategies. Winning proposition is really about strategy and looking at the situations in the market. Today, there is this buzzword about disruption, and everybody's talking about disruption, which is also true. So if you are trying to disrupt the market, you not only want to have a value proposition, you may have a value proposition, but if it is not a winnable one, you may not win. You want to go out there to win. So I like to use the word winning rather than value. So companies can no longer rely on the superiority of their product, but they must also have to master the operational effectiveness of what they're doing. So you cannot just say, I have a great product, but you have to know how you're going to deliver that solution. So you have to start doing the end game. You have to have a good product, and also you have to be very efficient in how you deliver it. So you need to combine the two to be in a very good position to win. So companies no longer have a choice between being low-cost operators or great innovators. You may have great innovation, but then your product may be too expensive, and you miss out on certain markets. Or on the other hand, your product might be low-cost, but it's not also, while it's low-cost, but it doesn't really solve certain problems that the person that you're targeting is looking for. So you need to combine the two. So you guys must excel at both low cost and superior customer solutions. If you dwell on one versus the other, it will kill you. So you need to really combine the two. So an organization's winning proposition encapsulates measurable competitive advantages and defines how it will win the competition for value creation, because you want to really win in value creation. We keep talking about value, but you have to win in the creation of value to your customer. It does this in many ways, or you can do this in many ways by answering these simple questions. How unique benefits, or what unique benefit will it offer its customers or your customers that will provide a compelling reason for them to choose it over the competition? Really, you need to come up with a unique value proposition. So what this question is doing is actually looking at it from the outside in rather than from the inside out. What do I mean by that? You are always looking at it from the customer standpoint, looking at your product to see whether the product that you're offering is really addressing the customer's needs. So you're looking at it from the outside, rather than looking from the inside saying, oh, my product is great and I want you guys to look at it. No, go out like we did in the previous slides, putting yourself in the customer's position. Once you do that and the customers see the benefit and you're selling them benefit, no longer selling them products, then you can start to translate that into how you can create value. And what is that value to you? While to them, the value is the benefit, to you is the financial return. So you can see the win-win situation. On one hand, the customer, even though they're giving you money, you're giving them benefits. Don't look at it as giving product. the product JPPay is giving me is the ability to walk into a merchant and get money, even if my ATM is not nearby. Now, this is a benefit. I needed it right there. Maybe I had a puncher and the vulcanizer doesn't have any POS and he needs cash. I don't have cash on me. I walk into a merchant, get money, give him, he fixes my car, I won't. You see, that is a benefit to me as the customer. But for JPPay, the fact that it offers me this benefit, it translates that benefit into a return financially, because now they get a cut, they get money from this service. So you see the win-win situation on that. So there are certain questions that you will want to ask when you're going with the winning proposition. Where will we compete? And now you go back to your BMC, the business model canvas. Michael, are you with me? Girani, Michael, are you sleeping or are you with me?
No, I'm here, sir.
Oh, okay, because your eyes are looking like you're sleeping.
No,
I see you all. I see all of you.
I'm writing.
Okay. Okay. All right. So back to the questions. The question of where will we compete? Okay. This goes back to the value proposition, the business model canvas. And if you look at that right-hand corner of the BMC, you have this market segment. So you want to know, and you guys, you have several segments to address with your products. You may not want to address all of them if you want to win. You want to choose, like they said, choose your fight. But when you're choosing your fight, choose the fight that is much in return, that will make a return for you the most. So in which of the market segment will we want to compete? Which customers will we serve? What will we offer our chosen customers? You have a product, but even within the product, you can customize it depending on the segment and the particular customer that you want to address. So if you have a broad range of market, and you said, and within that market, I'm trying to remember the Afro Connect or Afro Nobel from Lagos. I think you have a range of market segments. Forgive me if I got that wrong. I am trying to remember. I think you have a range of markets. So you may not want to go after all of them immediately. You can have that in phases, but try to identify the one that makes the most return for you. So this question really is important. Then you go to the next question. What do you want to achieve? What is your objective? We all know our objective at the end of the day is money. We want to make money, but you also want to win, and you want to make sure that what you're offering them makes a lot of sense. And what will be the measures that you want to say, yes, if I achieve this, or if we achieve this, yes, we succeed. So now this takes you back to the metric within your business model canvas. So you can see how this thing is now tying with your business model canvas. There are different portions within the canvas, and these are the questions that you are trying to address. How will we win? How will we win the competition for value creation for our customers and our investors? Because at the end of the day, you have two target audience. You have the customer. If you're lucky and you're rich, you don't need the investor. You put in your money. But if you have to go and get an investor, then you have another audience that you have to please. In that case, for them, it's nothing but money. But for the customer, is the value that, or the benefit that you're offering them. So you have to do a balancing act. How do you win in value creation to serve those two masters, right? And then what will be our key priorities? How will we concentrate our, don't forget, we don't have enough money. And no matter what kind of company or business you run, be it Google, be it Facebook, be it any of those guys, believe me, when they sit down at their quarterly reviews, they have a huge challenge of how they share resources amongst departments. Because I have that experience. I've worked in corporate, and we'll come with our budget. I'll come with my budget. I want to do this. I want to do that. This is a multi-billion-dollar company. Yet they will say, no, you cannot have this budget. You have to work within these boundaries of the budget that we made available to you. So you have to work with it. So there is no endless resource. You are a startup. You're probably looking for 500,000 naira, 1 million naira, 2 million, 5 million. Whatever amount you're looking for is limited. And within that limited resource that you are able to get, how are you going to use that to really address the priorities that will make you win in the marketplace and win over the competition so that you'll be successful? And don't forget, meet those thresholds that your investors want and you also want and your co-founders want. So these 4 questions are really important. Please, I urge you, spend time, think deep. You can easily answer these questions within 2 minutes, easily, but that's not the kind of answer you want. You want to really query yourself and spend some time to think through this, because this really goes to the heart of your winning proposition. So I kind of give 3 examples here of some companies. Google, we organize world's information, making it universally accessible and simple or useful. This is a very simple statement. Remember I said, when you're going to make your statement, make it very simple, very crisp, very easy. Everyone will understand it. Hallmark cards. I'm sure we have used these cards, sending birthday greetings and all kinds of goodwill wishes to our friends and family members. This is what they say about their product. We help people connect with one another and give voice to their feelings. How cool is that? You see what that means? It's so simple. And anyone that reads this understands it. It's a piece of card, but you're sending through that card an emotion to express how you feel about that person. So that's great. And it makes them feel good, and you want to buy because of that. The last one is my company, or one of my companies. We enable our customers to generate their own electricity that is reliable, affordable, and environmentally friendly using renewables. Through loan financing that save them money by eliminating the recurrent high cost of generator, refueling, and maintenance. We live in Nigeria. I'm sure some of you today may be running on generator. And instead of using a generator, if you can have a renewable system that really provides you all the electricity you need, and you're not putting up your money upfront to get that, but rather through financing, that solves the problem. It goes to the heart of what you're looking for. So the key attributes of the above statement is that they focus on the superior benefits customers will receive, not just the internal actions these organizations will take. It's expressing what the benefit the customer will get. So it's very customer-centric. You need to be very customer-centric. They offer a compelling reason why customers should choose to do business with you. Now, I come to the conclusion. I know, oh, okay. So we did it within the hour. So I want to give you something to do. And I am sure, I believe all of you did it anyway. When we did when you were here for the boot camp, you did your BMC and you did the presentation, which were all great. Now what I want you to do is to come up with your value proposition and your winning proposition. So in doing this, I want you to identify your unique selling proposition, core competence, and your SWOT. Please do this.
Yes,
And
sir.
then I want you together by answering those 4 questions in the winning proposition to come up with your winning proposition. And when you're doing this, you may get confused between value proposition and winning proposition. It's a very subtle statement. Winning proposition is an and, not or. So don't worry, but spend time to answer these 4 questions really deeply. And then in coming up with your value proposition, try to do this. Step 4 in the value proposition, those 3 questions. Try to write them down, answer them. But in order to answer those, you need to go back to the earlier questions in the early slides. Understand them again, read through the slides and understand this. Okay? Once you do all that, you will be able to come up with your value proposition. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And then answer these 4 questions. With those questions answered, you will be able to have in a statement your winning proposition. Okay? So with that, I conclude this session, and I hope it's been informative. I didn't give you a chance to ask questions. Now is the time for you to ask questions, and I want to spend some time with you guys. Please feel free to ask the questions you want, and before we conclude. And by the way, you're going to have, I think the next session, Messi, or next class is on Thursday, correct? Hello, Messi?
The next class is actually on Friday.
It's on
Friday. So we'll be having, yes, so we'll be having the customer development session by Dr. Larry Phillips. It's important that everyone attends the class, and also all the things that Dr. Mohammed has said. He has talked a bit about your customer identifying, doing your SWOT and all that. It's important that you know all these things so that you can actually gain from the class, because he will be saying a lot of things, and if you don't know what your SWOT is, you've not done your basic assessment of your value proposition and all that, it'll be difficult for you to actually follow through.
Okay.
Yes. So why I asked that class is because before the class, I want to see your answers to these questions by Thursday. And one thing I want to, and I don't want to scare anybody off. I really want you to draw the maximum benefit in this compressed 6 weeks class or session. And during this time, it's going to be intense. I know we have family, we have other things to do, but at the same time, I want you to really spend time on this and do this, okay? And I don't want anybody to drop off, but if you cannot catch up, you may be forced to have to drop. And I don't want that to happen. I want you to keep up and get to the end and get the maximum benefit out of this, please. Okay? So I would like to see all these answers by Thursday this week. Hello? Are we all on the same page?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
But can we please on our email so that we can see the questions properly?
Sorry? What was the question?
Can we please have the questions on our...
You get the slide. You get this slide. Messi will send you the slide.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, you get the entire. Yeah. The reason why you're not getting the slide is for you to follow. Because if you have this slide with you, you may not follow. You need to follow this slide.
That's true.
Okay? So, yeah, she will send you this slide.
Please ask questions.
Okay.
Please ask questions. Esther.
Okay. So where are we meant to submit the assignment to?
You have Mrs. email.
Okay.
Yeah, you send it to Messi. She coordinates everything. Okay, and like I said, there is this strategic. What do I call it? Let me see. Here.
So, sir, I have a question, sir.
Go ahead. Who is asking the question?
It's Abdul Latif, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. I say I have a question. It's Abdul Latif. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you, sir. Seeing the last value proposition, or the last slide, or second to last slide, that is a value proposition of is a simple statement, just or a single a single point. Like instead of writing one, so value, two, so this, should it be just single? Should we compress it into a single statement, or can we make it into maybe 3 sentences? Or that is my question.
Sorry, I got timed out momentarily. Can you ask the question again?
Okay, sir. So I said, when I look at the Google value proposition and that of the Copios, so it shows that the value proposition is also a single statement.
Yeah. It could be a long statement, but it expresses what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. But when in the process, make sure, like I said, it could be 2 sentences. Okay, but don't, every word that you use, make sure it has Latif. Hello?
Should you also compress our own? Yes.
I don't get, did anyone hear the question? Because it's choppy. I couldn't hear the question.
And what it's saying is, just as Google and all Mac, their proposition is just a 1-sentence stuff. So is asking if it is compulsory that we have to go the same route, or we can make our value proposition to be in a list, say point 1, this is a point 2, this is that. That's what it's trying to ask.
No. Don't forget, it's something that is like your elevator pitch. No? It's just a statement. You're not going to say statement 1, 2, 3. No, you just have a sentence, right? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's okay if it's 2 to 3 lines. That's okay.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, as long as copy 4 lines. Yeah. Make sure it captures what you're trying to. I could reduce this to 2 lines. I could remove affordable, right? I could remove quite a few things, but each of those words that you see there conveys a message, because it needs to be affordable for the customer to be able to come on board. It needs to be reliable, so they need to make sure whenever they need light, that is light. And it's environmentally friendly because it's renewable, right? And it eliminates current high cost of generating electricity by way of reducing fuel and maintenance, because you don't have any maintenance to change oil and do stuff. So every sentence or every word you have there has meaning. You should choose the word that has meaning and convey the message you're trying to convey. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? I haven't seen any of the ladies on this screen. Are they here? Let's see.
Yes. Esther is here.
Who is speaking?
So,
Okay.
Esther is here. Toby's here. I think it's
Okay.
only Dolapo that's not here.
Lakpo, that is Afronovation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please communicate to everybody that it will not be acceptable this class. So one class, but after missing 2 classes consecutively, we'll have to drop the person and move on. We're putting effort in this thing. We want to make sure people also put effort in this thing and get the benefit of it because we want to all this. Okay? All right.
Sir.
And where is 3D? Hello? I don't see. Is he here?
Who's that, sir?
I'm forgetting his name. The company with the 3D imaging.
Okay, Arame. So Arame is being represented by
Not
a
Arame.
by a
Not
colleague.
Do you mean EduVR?
There's also
not.
okay. So Joshua is here.
Yeah,
I think that's
the
who you're
3D.
referring to. The ones that create school what they call it, things with
Yeah, not the 3D modeling company. What's his name? The guy that came on the last day on Friday.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he's
Oh,
not.
okay. That's yes, sir. I've been
Oh, he's
here.
here actually. Okay.
Simon.
Yes, sir.
Simon. Yeah, Simon. Okay. Okay, great. So I can see this is your product you're displaying, correct? Not your face.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions? Hello?
No,
okay.
sir. I'm fine,
okay.
sir.
Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll see you on Friday then.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, great.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, guys.
Yeah.
Hello, Mercy.
Hi, Mercy here. How you doing, everyone?
Yeah, it's fine.
We are
Okay.
good.
Good to know you're good. All right. So as Dr. Mohammed has said, these sessions, as much as we are doing it online, it's really important that we take this seriously because this is, first of all, this is our first incubation program for Connect Lab, and we really want to get the best out of it. You know, we told you before the whole COVID-19 issue began and all that, how we're going to support and all. It has not changed, right? The only thing that has changed is our medium of communication, which is virtual. And like I said in the mail, we're going to be doing a bit of blended learning. So we have started now and we're monitoring the situation. When things become a bit better and people can travel, one of the reasons why we're not doing it physically is because of some of us that are not in Abuja, and so traveling would be a problem. So as soon as those things change, we'll definitely have a physical session. But what I can assure you of is the demo day would be physical. So we'll have investors in-house and all that. We'll be having this session live, right? So it will not be online.
But the demo day.
Yeah?
Sorry, ma'am. Don't worry. Just finish.
Okay. All right. So before that, like I said before, just for people that just joined, that joined in late, we're going to still be having all the sessions as discussed. So there are 11 sessions in total. It's supposed to be 12 meetings. So it's 12 meetings. One day is demo day. The other days are the sessions where you get to learn stuff, right? We've had the first one, and we would have the next 10 every 2 times a week. So we're having the customer development session on Friday. Next week we'll have 2 sessions, one on Monday, one on Thursday. If it changes, we'll definitely let you know. Right? Please, like I said before, we're going to be assessing you bi-weekly. Now you've had your value proposition session and you were given assignments to do and things to work on. It's important that you do this thing and I get to see them on time so that we can know how to actually support, aside from the fact that we're using to evaluate, okay, who's going to get to the final, who's going to be one of the final 3 or one of the final 2 or things like that. It's important for us to also know your level of growth and where you're struggling. Right? It's one thing for you to say, oh, yes or no, we don't have questions, but when you implement, we will then see, okay, these are the lapses. This is where this person is getting it right. This is where this person is actually struggling, and we can then chip in. So don't look at it as, oh, we're just trying to monitor. It's also for your own good. If you have a problem, it's easy for us to see it when you do your assignment or you do your work, and then we can then say, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Because of this problem, we would like you to come in on Monday or Tuesday, and we'll be supporting you. We'll have an open day and all that. All those things is determined on what you do, right? Your assignment and you keeping all to task. As much as I know some of us had issues joining in early due to internet, but please, guys, make an effort to join the sessions on time. Yes, we are not allowing so much people into Work and Connect. However, we can make some exceptions if you need to be here in my office and do it. You just have to come protected and all that. Right? I really want everybody to go through this program and get the best out of it. There are different people coming in. As discussed earlier, Ingressive is still on board. They're really excited about their sessions. And so they'll be taking 2 sessions. One is operations, startup operations. The other one is the funding, investment and all, right? We still have a law firm that is going to be supporting us and doing the legal thing and all that. It's important you take advantage of these people. If you have to do your research before the class and find out all you need to find out, things that you don't know anything about, and ask them, please ask them. You would have access to all these people that are coming for the classes. So you can send them a mail, ask them questions, follow up on your businesses. However, it just has to be, your sessions have to be very professional and all that. Basically, I think that's all I have. If you have questions, please ask. I know, Michael, you wanted to say something.
Well, first of all, I wanted to know whether you're gonna email us the slideshow so we can
Yes, I will. I have it.
Great. And then in terms of submission, I might stop. He said he's gonna come. He wants to see our answers like on Thursday before Friday. So should we send them through to you?
Yes, please send them to me.
Okay, great. And with the demo day, I wanted to like understand how it's gonna work.
Okay.
Because in the email you sent us, we at the bottom it said that the winner is gonna get 1,500 from the program and all. But I wanted to know what happens to everyone else, and is that all we're gonna be able to get out of the program?
Okay.
As you know, that's not really gonna take us that far as startups right now. But I just wanted to know whether we have opportunities to actually gain some more funds.
Okay.
At the end of the program.
All right. So first off, yeah, I said you could send them to me. It's important you send your assignment before 12 so that he can review it before that's before 12 on Thursday, so you can review it before the class on Friday, right? For the incubation program, I said it's going to be physical, so we'll definitely be doing it at Work and Connect, right? You would have access to, remember, I think I mentioned this before, Work and Connect, that's the parent body is, or the parent company is the headquarters of Founders Institute, right? So Founders Institute is a global community that supports startups and all that to do a lot of investment. And so we're going to be getting investors in-house to come for the program. So yes, you get the opportunity to pitch to not just us now, but also people that can also invest in your business. So I don't want you to keep a closed mind. A lot of things can come out of this. And remember, as much as yes, not everybody might get money out of this. However, it's important for you to get the best, which is capacity. I can't take whatever you learn from you. Your money will finish. By the time you buy this equipment, that equipment, or invest in one thing or the other for your business, it will finish. However, the capacity, the knowledge gained, and the networks that you build will last forever. And I think I have said this before. People that go through the program would always have access to Connect Lab. So let's say you finish the program now and you want to scale up your business. You always have access to this space. You always have the opportunity to come in and then get your business worked on, or giving ideas or giving support and all that. For some of you that even have started the program, before you even started, you have been meeting with Dr. Mohammed. You've been coming to my office and asking questions. So there is an open door policy, and there's also there's also an opportunity for you to grow. It's just the way you look at it. Right? So you're coming for your demo day, or even before that, some of the people that are going to be facilitating your sessions are investors. Remember, Ingressive Capital is one of the partner, and they are also going to be facilitating a session. These are opportunities for you to put your best foot forward, learn, and also to build your network. So that when you get to that stage where you're investment ready, you know that you can reach out to this person from Ingressive. You can reach out to this person who, let's say, Dr. Phillips, Nalari Phillips, you can reach out to him. You can reach out to this lawyer. You can reach out to this other person, right? You are going to have access to a pool of people who are doing amazingly well that can invest in your business. So I really don't want us to look at it as, okay, so there might be money at the end of the day and we're not getting anything from it. And then, like I said before, and I've always been saying, everything, how you go is determined by you and only you. It's not by mercy, right? It's not by what I think it depends on what you're doing. So now you've been given assignments, you'll be meeting, you'll be having sessions. Are you available? Yes. What exactly are you doing? Are you building yourself to pitch properly? Do you have everything dotted and crossed on your value proposition, right? What exactly are you doing, right? So it depends on you. I know that the economic situation right now for not just for Nigeria, for the world, is not as it used to be because of the impact of the virus. However, there is a lot of room for growth. It just depends on you. Does that answer your question, Michael?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please,
Now,
does anyone have?
Yes, I have a question. You just mentioned 2 to 3 people that will get to the final. Does that mean that it is not everybody that is going to get to the demo day? Or
Okay,
can you please explain more?
So like Dr. Mohammed said, we don't want anyone to drop out of this program, right? However, like I said, it depends on you. If everybody does what he or she is supposed to do and we all get to the demo day, it's amazing. We're not that much now. It's fantastic, right? If everyone actually gets and we can see that you're ready to. Okay, sir.
Let me see. I think I understand Abdul Latif's question. Perhaps what he's saying could be people that will be dropped. No, that is not the intent. If all of you are attending the class, submitting your assignments, doing all that is expected, like we just started today, all of you will get to the end. And all of you will make a presentation. Right? You come up and make your presentation, and then that will be and of the top 3, I think that's a prize for the first position. Mercy.
Okay, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello?
I'm here, sir.
Yeah. What I'm saying. Okay. What I'm saying is, assuming everybody does what is expected of them, they go through the entire up to the end. And of all 8, I think, companies that we have here, we want to see you through to the end. And then all of you come and make a presentation. for investors, and just will determine the top 3 of the position, just like we did when we were in the boot camp, where we selected the 8 companies. And of those 3, that would be obviously first position. And for the first position, that would be a prize. I don't remember how much that is going to be. I don't remember. So maybe you can check it. But that would be a prize for first position. And that first position is not an investment. That's just a grant.
Grant, yes.
And you may not be in the top 3. You may not be in the top 3, but there may be an investor who is particularly in that particular segment that you're in, and he likes the idea, and he can still invest in you, regardless of whether you are in the top 3 or not.
Exactly.
So everybody that's in the class gets to the end has a shot, 100%, to being in, will be coming. Like Messi mentioned, I got timed out momentarily, but for the bit that I heard, that will be a number of investors that we're going to invite, and we're also going to invite private individuals. Okay, and private individuals that will be interested in listening, because don't forget, this is really new. And when I say new, I don't mean new to Nigeria, but new to this part of the country. Okay, where startups will come and people will come and listen and say, hey, this makes sense, I want to give you money to invest. It's not that much, in particularly this part of the country. So we are talking to those we know, encourage them, try to educate them on what this is. And there are people who have this, what they call it, or put it, it's not patriotism, not that patriotism is not good, but they have this feeling that they wish young people could do something and be employed, and how could they help? So that kind of attitude, if there are people that we can get and that we're talking to, and they come in and they listen, and you are able, and again, that goes back to your value proposition. The moment you open your mouth, you start saying something, say, wow, this is really nice, I want to be part of this. How much do you want? 1,000, 300,000, 500,000, whatever it is that you're looking to jumpstart some of the things that you're doing, some of the challenges you're facing. Some may not give you money, but they have network, or they have their own experience that they want to share with you. Mentoring, you know, like Messi was saying, get access to stuff you may otherwise not have access to. So all that plays into this. Get to the end. It's huge. It's not just getting there and getting the first prize. No. The first prize is nice to have. It's not the end goal. The end goal for you guys should be something that you want to really, and you 8, I think it's 8 companies, all of you 8.
Any more questions? Are we okay?
Yeah, so maybe we are.
Okay.
I'm okay at this time.
Okay,
Yes,
no
we
problem.
are okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
no problem.
sir.
So I look forward to receiving your assignment before 12 noon Friday, Thursday, so that he can read them all through the afternoon and evening in preparation for the class on Friday. I'm going to send you an outline of our classes and the days. If it changes, we'll definitely be informed. But this is so that you can just keep it, you mark your calendars and all that, and so we don't go back and forth on you not being around and waiting for you and all that. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you
that's fine.
very much for joining.
Yeah, it's fine.
If you have my number, I think everyone has my number. You can always reach out to me, call me if you have questions and all that. Please be safe. Do take care. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thanks for the time.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
then.
much.
Ma'am, thank you, sir.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Your Friday.
Hello, before you
thank you.
sign out, one quick, before you sign out, please, can you make sure next time you have your co-founders with you? Okay?
Okay.
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 Not
Yeah.
possible for all of us. We'll try.
And I have a suggestion, sir. Is it possible for us to have a WhatsApp group?
Why not? Create it, please. Absolutely.
Is it
Okay.
possible for us to have a WhatsApp group?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
I
please
think
create.
it will be very important for us to have WhatsApp group for easy communication.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, no problem. So what you would do is one person here would add everyone and then invite me, and then would invite.
Okay.
So who's going to do that for us?
I don't think we have each other's numbers.
Okay,
Yes,
you don't have. But then the numbers you
Who will be
use,
the
the numbers you used to apply, is it?
We
Are
could
they? Are
use-
those your WhatsApp numbers? Because I have some numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Yes, it is.
Okay.
For me
Okay.
as well.
Yes.
Okay. No problem. So I would create it.
Okay.
Why,
Thank
why,
you.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All
why
right
don't you
then.
do this?
Bye bye.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye bye. Bye bye.